I want to talk a little bit about the possible mentors that are on Keele's campus. When reading and really talking to the departments that already have mentors, you will find that mentors come from those most likely who have already been mentored or who already have had some form of help. Those are your biggest targets right there. If you sent out a survey of everyone who's ever been mentored at Keele, I guarantee like 90% of them would say, yeah, I want to be a mentor, just because of the relationship. And that's both positive and negative. Even those who have had a bad mentoring relationship still want to mentor because they think they can do it better, or they don't want someone else to go through the same problems that they had. So it's a win-win. If they have a bad relationship, you get them. If they have a good relationship, you get them. So it's no worries in keeping the ball rolling. I think at Sheffield, it was like 5 years ago, they had a small mentoring program. It may have been like 70 mentors or so. We went to their, me and Verity went and watched their training process, and they have 500. They have 500 mentors. They almost have as many mentors as they do mentees. So it's going to take time, and every single department and institution that I've ever interviewed has said that, the first 2 or 3 years it's going to seem like, all right, this is not going to work, or maybe we should abandon it, or maybe we should switch things up. I would say stay with what you have, because you have to give it a lot of time to actually work. I think it's University of Manchester. They have something called the PASS program, where they have like little study groups. It is more tailored towards academic studying, but it started in one chemistry class, and now it's an international thing. They train other universities. I've seen them come and train universities in the United States. That's how big it's gotten. So by no means is it impossible for it to happen. It's just going to take a lot of time. Also, your mentors are going to most likely come from, and a lot of you have heard me say this, from education. Those who want to teach, students who want to teach, are going to want to be mentors. And it's a danger there, because they're there to have a mutual relationship, and they want to actually teach the student. But that's something maybe you can't control, but that's something to keep in mind. You're going to have education students. You're probably going to have students who are going into a health occupation, medicine, nursing, doctors, child care, things where they're going out, volunteers, things that are going out, students that are going out to actually do jobs to help other people. Those are going to be your mentors as well. And social science, students who study other people are really interested in knowing more about a person. I think their success comes more so in a one-to-one mentoring relationship, because they can actually engage that person and really get to know them. And I think, in my experience, psychology, sociology, criminology, those types of students help individuals the most, because they really take time to get to know the other student, whether that student wants them to or not. They really take time to get to know them. What you're going to want is people who are empathetic. You don't want sympathetic people. If they're doing it as kind of charity, that's not really the type of mentors I think that you would want. You would want somebody who's saying, oh, I don't know, I can see how your position is tough. I don't feel bad for you, because, everyone goes through it, but I understand that you're having a tough time. This is how we can help. I call it being honest, but being diplomatic. You have to be able to tell your peers all the flaws of Keele University, but at the same time not bashing it. You know, there's nothing to do. You have to take the bus to the movies. I hate going to Morrison's because I can't take the bus back. You know, you can't. You have to be able to. You have to be able to be diplomatic about it. You know, there's a lot of good things that Keele and Stoke as a city have to offer, and they have to be honest. You know, yes, it's a long way to go to the movies, but guess what? It only costs £1.55, you know. And if you go on Tuesdays, it's like 75% off, and I'll go with you. You know, that kind of thing. Like it's bad, but hey, we're here. Let's make it work, right? Let's keep it moving. All right, who are your mentees? I go in at length in the paper, and I'm gonna just try to highlight real quick. Your mentees should really be all first year students. Every first year student has problems transitioning. Mature students, post grad students, you know, no matter what their other identity is, all first year students have an issue transitioning to universities, and their issues may be different. Mature students are wondering if they have the skills to come back, whereas, you know, most traditional age students are worrying about making friends and where they're going to live. Neither one of them are really worried about school. But there's three certain identities for Keele and that I really think y'all should focus on first. And I'm not sure how we could do it yet, but it's something to really keep in mind. I think international students, disabled students, and first-generation students are probably the three biggest areas that Keele needs to hit first. International students need a lot of support because they're here by themselves most of the time. As far as I know, only post-grad students have families over here, but they're alone, basically. And a lot of them are on campus during breaks and during holidays, and they're just here. And I've heard from staff and academics, you know, they want to experience the UK culture as well. It would be nice, and I'm not saying that you should feel obligated to do this, but it would be nice, you know, invite them to, you know, a Christmas dinner or a pre-Christmas dinner so you can have one with your family and one with them. It would be nice if they were, you know, I know that the international office takes them on trips and things like that, but that's out of an office. It would be nice if it was just, you know, a friend kind of thing, if peers and students got together and they went out and, you know, made all the mistakes of not getting to the train on time and, you know, getting off on the wrong stop. Those kind of experiences make the story better. Disabled students, I know that Maureen is doing a lot too, and the whole office is doing a lot to better their experience. But the stigma behind students with disability is that we're all, especially if you're able and you don't have a disability or a learning disability, you want to keep them at arm's length. Whether you intend to or not, it's much easier not to talk about disabled students, because if I were to take off my politically correct hat, it's a pain in the butt because you always have to cater to them. It's much easier to build a building with stairs and not a ramp than think about, okay, how can everyone get to this event? And it's easy to think, you know, how can I have, all right, I'm going to plan a party, but there's going to be people there who can't eat certain foods. You know, it's easier to just do it, and then if you can't do it, if you can't come in the building, then, you know, that's your problem. But I think we all do that, and I know I certainly am guilty of that. When I talk to people about student support, disability is often the last on the list. I name first generation, race, gender, sex, international, and then I'm like, okay, And disability. You have students who you can see their disabilities and students who you can't. And I think Maureen is an excellent resource to talk more about that, because like I said, I've just started really thinking about them, but I know that they feel left out a lot. It's easy to, if you see a strange kid, it's an easy decision for a first year student to say, all right, I'm going to be friends with this normal person, then try to get to understand this other person who has a learning disability or epilepsy or something like that. It's easy. It's an easy decision. This friend has some issues that I'm going to have to help them with, or I can go with this friend who seems to not have any, when the reality is we're all probably mentally crazy. So the next group is first generation students. I think with the UK's widening participation incentive and the funding cuts, I think they're going to need a lot of help. They're often the students who don't know that they need help. And in fact, if you say, here's the help, and put it in front of them, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll check it out. And I think you really have to engage these students, and they'll be more likely to take hold of it if they see it as, oh, everybody has to do this, everybody has to have a mentor, everyone is being mentored. If they see it any different, then they're less likely to engage in mentoring.